We're looking at how artificial intelligence is reshaping the nursing workforce, and it's absolutely fascinating. AI is both a helping hand and a challenge for healthcare, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Right? It's interesting because while AI takes over repetitive tasks, it also gives nurses more time for direct patient care. Can you explain some of the key opportunities here?
Sure. So one major opportunity is how AI can delegate those routine administrative duties like documentation, scheduling, and even some aspects of medication management to machines. This means nurses could focus more on patient interaction and holistic care.
Yep, exactly. That sounds promising, but isn't there a worry about AI overstepping and possibly displacing nurses entirely?
Oh, definitely. And that's one of the trickier parts of this discussion. On one hand, AI robots and chatbots take over tasks that, frankly, none of us really love doing. On the other, there's a real ethical concern about job security. But the paper clearly explains that due to the heavy reliance on soft skills like empathy and communication, nursing is less vulnerable to being completely replaced.
True. I see. So, it's essentially a balancing act. AI handles the hard routine loads while nurses focus on the human aspect of care. But how does this impact error rates or overall efficiency?
It's pretty interesting. AI can actually help reduce errors, like those seen in documentation, or the failure to rescue events. There are reports that automating tasks could drop error margins while also speeding up processes. Think of it as a turbo boost for efficiency, enabling better patient outcomes overall.
And what about tapping into some of these examples? Like, I've heard about AI robots delivering lab specimens. How does that fit in?
Yeah, that's a neat example. When AI-powered robots handle logistics, nurses get to be at the bedside more often. They free up valuable time that nurses would otherwise lose on time-consuming delivery tasks. This extra time can then be used for real patient care or even professional development.
Yeah, that makes sense. That extra time must be a real game changer. But I've also read that up to 40% of a nurse's time is spent on documentation. How realistic is it to expect AI to reclaim that time?
The paper suggests that current AI technologies like voice recognition and natural language processing can already free up around 15% of that time, and that number could go up with further advancements. Imagine cutting out the tedious parts so you can focus solely on patient care, mentoring, or even research.
Yeah, I can see that working. Interesting. And what about the skills analysis they did? I remember something about radar charts differentiating between hard and soft skills for different nursing roles. Can you walk me through that?
Certainly. They created a radar chart, mapping both hard skills, like technical knowledge, systems analysis, and programming, and soft skills, like empathy, communication, and critical thinking. The fascinating bit is that, across all nursing occupations, soft skills dominate. This means that while technical tasks might be automated, the uniquely human element of nursing is hard to replicate. It really underlines that nurses aren't easily replaceable.
Absolutely. That really puts things in perspective. So, essentially, the nature of work is transforming rather than disappearing entirely.
Exactly. It's less about replacing nurses and more about augmenting their capabilities. The goal is to let technology handle the grunt work while nurses concentrate on higher value care, like patient relationships, decision-making, and mentoring other staff.
That sounds like a smart move. But what about the ethical challenges surrounding AI in healthcare? There are concerns about bias, transparency, and even patient safety. How are these addressed?
Great question. The ethical integration of AI is critical, especially when you're dealing with patient data and clinical decisions. The literature stresses the need for transparency, using explainable AI models so that nurses can understand, critique, and verify the AI's output. This is essential for maintaining trust and ensuring patient safety. It's making sure the tools we use can be held accountable.
Yeah, that accountability is key. I agree. But some might argue that even with transparency, the complexity of these systems could overwhelm the average nurse. Isn't there a risk of creating another layer of burden?
That's a fair point. There is a concern that without proper training, nurses might feel overwhelmed by having to oversee these systems. However, the paper argues for stronger educational curricula and on-the-job training in nursing informatics and AI. This means, instead of adding burdens, the proper implementation of AI should actually empower nurses to ask the right questions and ensure that these tools serve as reliable aids rather than additional.
That's a good counterpoint. So, proactive engagement seems to be a recurring theme. How can nurses truly be at the forefront of this technological evolution?
Absolutely. It calls for nurses to not only embrace AI, but to actively participate in its development. Nurses need to become champions, working side by side with tech developers to shape AI tools that truly address the nuances of patient care. The idea is to insert nursing expertise into the design process, ensuring that these innovations enhance patient care
that's empowering.
rather than compromise it.
I like that perspective. It seems to pivot the conversation from AI is a threat to AI is an enabler. But is there also talk about how AI could affect nurse staffing and workforce distribution?
Yes, indeed. Another point raised is that AI can help monitor supply and demand. Basically, it can help identify where staffing shortages exist, like in rural versus urban settings. This data-driven approach could inform policy decisions and help manage workforce distribution more effectively. It's like using a smart map to pinpoint exactly where additional support is needed.
Yeah, that's quite innovative. That's really a modern take on workforce management, isn't it? AI assisting in both clinical care and administrative strategy.
Exactly. It's a two-pronged benefit, enhancing patient care and improving overall healthcare operations. The emphasis is on how AI can create more time for nurses, time that can be channeled into education, leadership, and directly interacting with patients.
This sounds like it could fundamentally change the nursing role. What about the concerns many nurses have about job displacement?
That's always a hot topic. Even though AI can perform many tasks, nurses' expertise in empathy, critical thinking, and complex decision-making is irreplaceable. The paper underscores that while certain tasks might be automated, the role of the nurse as a caregiver cannot be consolidated into an AI. Still, it's important to address the fears head-on by ensuring ethical implementation and involving nurses in the development process.
And that involvement is really key. It sure is. When nurses actively participate in crafting these AI tools, they're likely to feel more empowered and less at risk of being sidelined. Isn't that the crux of the argument?
Exactly. It's about harnessing AI's potential to enhance the profession rather than diminish it. This involves rethinking education, policy, and daily practice. The conversation also points out that embracing AI can free nurses to do what they do best: provide compassionate, personalized care.
That's a great way to reframe it. Instead of AI being seen as a competitor, it's a partner. But do you think there's a risk that the push for AI might overlook the human touch in nursing entirely?
That challenge is real and requires constant vigilance. The technology must be developed with the human element firmly in mind. As one of the highlights, the analysis of skills in the radar charts clearly shows that the human touch is critical. If developers and administrators lose sight of that, then yes, we could risk undermining patient care. We have to ensure that AI acts as a catalyst, not a replacement.
Right, absolutely. I appreciate that nuance. Now, shifting gears a bit, what about the research methods? That radar chart mapping of skills really stood out to me.
Yeah, it really did. They mapped out both hard and soft skills for various nursing roles, from nursing assistants all the way up to nurse practitioners. It showed that as responsibilities increase, so does the importance of interpersonal, human-centric skills. This method illustrates concretely that the essence of nursing isn't something any machine can replicate.
That's really insightful. And that quantitative view makes a strong case for the resilience of nursing despite technological advances.
Exactly. It quantifies, in a sense, why nursing as a field is uniquely equipped to benefit from AI. Even as AI takes on data-heavy tasks, the soft skills, like empathy and communication, remain the bedrock of quality patient care.
On that note, how do you see the future of nursing evolving with these AI advancements?
I think we're looking at a future where the role of the nurse is transformed. With AI handling routine tasks, nurses can expand into more strategic and educational roles, become leaders in health informatics, and shape policy. It's like transitioning from being a doer to also being an innovator and a strategist.
Yeah, I see that as a really positive evolution. It sounds like it's all about integration, ensuring that technology serves as an extension of a nurse's capabilities, not a replacement. That's very forward-thinking.
Absolutely. The key takeaway is that, rather than fearing AI, nurses should embrace it as a tool that amplifies their impact. With proper training, ethical standards, and most importantly, the active engagement of nurses in its development and upkeep, AI can truly revolutionize patient care while honoring the essence of nursing.
Right, exactly. This conversation really highlights the promise and the caution we need as we move forward. It's almost like we're on the frontier of a new healthcare era, where technology and empathy intersect.
Well said. Nurses are not just passive participants. They're the guardians of compassionate care. And with AI as their ally, the future looks bright.